welcome back to my craft room. If you're new to my craft room, then welcome. Today I am going to kind of flip this very rustic piece that I found at the thrift store. I thought this was really cool. Little too rustic for my taste, but I really like this. And this would be something really simple to make if you know someone that's, or if you're handy with a saw. It's just 2 pieces of wood with a star and then 2 slats nailed onto that, and that's pretty much it. And it's really cool. It's very heavy. It cost me a whole $3.99 at the thrift store. Take that off of there. They have this hook here to hang it up. I'm gonna have this standing on my porch, but I want to add just a little bit of color to it, a little bit of decoration to it. I'm gonna add some words to it. I'm gonna put these, let me get this out of the way because we'll do this after I do the words here. Piece of paper, scrap paper, good enough. I am going to take these metal letters from Dollar Tree and we are going to write freedom across the bottom of that. So let me get, let's see, some double-sided tape here, which is the easiest way to paint these. And I'm just going to put some of that down here on the paper. And we're just gonna stick these on here, and that'll hold them in place here. So I'm just gonna go over it with a little sponge brush, and I'm gonna use some of the plaster color. Come here. And then I'll probably use, I don't want it to be like a bright color, so I'll probably use maybe a little bit of distressing ink on them too. Whoops, oh, I didn't spell that right, did I? It doesn't matter. All right, there we go. So now they're stuck to the paper, and then I can just take my sponge brush. As soon as I find that, I guess I put them all away. Take my sponge brush and then just a little bit of this plaster color here, and we are just going to tap that right on there. I'm just going to stick it right in the container here. There we go. And then we just pat these on here. A lot of times I'll do 2 coats, but I think I'm only going to do 1 because I'm going to add a little bit of the distressing ink to it. They don't have to be perfectly painted because we still want this to look, you know, kind of rustic looking. But it's just, you know, if that's your style, that's great. I know a lot of people love the real rustic kind of things, but I just want to add a little color to it, a little pop to put out on my porch. I may have to do 2 coats. Let's see. It is so hot and humid here today, guys. I'm hoping I can even get the paint to stick. I'll have to get out my heat gun, which is not something I want to do either, but I'm probably going to have to. All right, we'll see when that dries whether or not. I don't think I'm going to need a second coat. I think that will be fine. All right, so there we have all our letters painted. Super quick and easy to do. I'm going to set them aside for now. Stick my brush in the water before I forget. And there we go. Now I have some ribbon here and stuff I'm going to use. I'll show you guys that after we get this thing painted up, which we're not going to do a lot of paint whatsoever. I'm going to put a little bit of white on the inside of this star, and I'm going to use these chip brushes because they seem to work great for this kind of thing. And this thing is very rough. I was thinking about sanding it, but I think that would be kind of like almost impossible. So I'm just going to take this. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see this, but I'm just going to put a little bit of white in here. I don't want it completely covered, and I don't want it there where I just got it. We'll paint over it. Just a touch. If I can do this without making a total mess. But yeah, I'll hold this up better so you can see it better here in a second. But yeah, don't want it covered in white. Just like, you know, that it's been sitting out and the weather has kind of worn it off. But it just seemed like it needed just a little bit of something here. And I love these chip brushes. You can get these at, you know, like the hardware store, or you can get them in a craft store, or some of these I think I got from Temu. But, ooh, I got too much paint on there. I'm getting some on the edges here where I don't want it, but we'll figure that out. And if you get a little too much, well, we can just sand it off later. I know I'm holding this up here now, you can't even see what I'm doing. But yeah, just so it'll pop just a little bit. All right, that's it. Oops, nope, I missed this side right here. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so that is it. That's all I'm putting in there. Now I have it upside down. But you can see, it's just, this thing's heavy. But you can see, I just touch of white paint. Just kind of like it's been sitting out and it's weathered and it's coming off or whatever. And that's that. And that's what I'm going to do on the rest of this too. I'm just going to show like part of this. I'm not going to make you guys watch me paint the entire thing. Now for the blue, I want to use all chalk paint because I don't want any shiny paint on here. And the only color I had here was this Nantucket blue, which is kind of pretty. It's kind of an aged looking blue. So I am not prepared here. What am I doing? So we're just going to take some of the Nantucket blue. Hopefully this stayed mixed. My paints are really a mess right now. And then we are going to use some of this red. This is crimson red. I'll probably just dip into this thing here instead of dumping it out. But I'm just going to take another brush here and we're going to take a little bit of the red. Now the red I'm just going to put on these two end pieces. And again, not a lot, just kind of brush some of that on. And I'm probably going to go over this because this is really a bright red. So I'll probably just go over it with some, like either the antique wax or maybe some of the distressing ink. We'll see. But again, I don't want a lot on here. I think that's good right there like that. And then that way our little white letters here are going to really pop. So I'm going to do the same thing up on the top there. And I will do that after. Just show you kind of how I'm doing this here. So now we're going to take some of this blue. I'm liking this blue. It's like almost like a blue gray, but it's really pretty. I think I got a little too heavy there for what I was going for, but it's more like this side I want, so I may have to try and get some of that off of there. Like I said, this is very, very coarse wood, which is kind of cool. Put a little bit down here on the end. But I want to be able to see the wood through it. That is making me mad. I wish I hadn't got that on there so thick. But we'll fix it. Alright, so that is what I'm going to do. That's how this whole thing is going to get painted. It's just going to have this very rustic, like the paint's all wearing off, you know, like it's been outside forever. So let me finish putting that on and then we'll come back and then we can decorate this. Alright, I got that all painted. I think it looks really great. Still very rustic, but I just love to touch of color to it. All right, so now I'm going to take my letters here. I have some of the Tim Holtz Distressing ink, and this is Vintage Photo, my favorite. Just have this little sponge thing, and I am just going to tap this on these letters just to make them not look so bright white. And there you go. Now you have more of a rustic feel to the letters. All right, simple. That's like the easiest thing to do. All right, now let's see if I can get these on here without gluing my fingers on it or something. I don't know. Some days my fingers want to hold steady, other days not so much. Okay, so I'm going to use some of this here. Can I see that? Let me slide this up more. Have enough room here. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to put that across the bottom here. I may have to stand up so I can see straight. So we'll start out with this second E here to find the center. Yep, definitely going to have to stand up. And I'm just going to add a little bit of this Fix All Adhesive Super Glue. Get this at Dollar Tree too. I'm going to put some of that on here, not too much. It's hot. I'll tell you what, everything just wants to come running out. All right, now let's see if we can do this right. That looks good right there. You could try to hot glue. Hot glue doesn't really work all that great on, you know, like the galvanized, those are galvanized letters. There we go. Now I can sit back down, see what I'm doing here. So that's what I did. All right, I'm gonna place these on here just so I see how far apart I want these. And then I'll go ahead and glue these on. I don't know if that's going to come out even. It really doesn't look like it's going to. Okay. No, it's going to be good. Nope, we're going to have to figure this out. I wonder if this is longer on one side than the other. A little bit. This little piece is on here a little off. That's okay. Alright, so that's just how I'm going to glue those on there. I'm just going to put some of this on the back of these. It's not going to be perfectly centered because obviously this, whoever made this, was a little off on that side, which is fine. Not a big deal unless you're really into having everything exactly right. Alright, so let me finish gluing these on here and then we'll come back and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do up on the top. Okay, so now while that's drying over there with the letters on there, we're going to make a bow here for the top of this. This is one of those fat quarters from Dollar Tree. I'm going to tear this instead of cutting, and I'll just cut it a tiny bit just to get it started. But we're going to measure this about 5.5 inches. I already have one made, but I just want to show you guys how I did this. So right about here, we're just going to put a little tiny slit, and then we are just going to tear this so that, you know, the edges aren't like perfectly cut, just like so. And now I wanted to age this a little bit because I didn't want it to be so white. So again, I took my distressing ink here. Where did my thing go? Here it is, my little sponge things. You can get these at Michael's, Walmart. I think I got all this stuff from Michael's a long time ago. And all I did was just dip it on here and then just kind of go like this all the way down it, just to give it more of a aged looking fabric. And I did both sides too. So I went over this side too. So this is what it looks like before, and then you just kind of age a little bit. It's really simple. But I have one over here that's already dry because I don't want to mess with that. I'll have ink all over me. But I have this one here that I've already done. And then I'm also going to use a piece of this patriotic ribbon from Dollar Tree. It's just, it looks like a burlap. It's not really a burlap, but it looks like it at least. And I did the same thing on that. I went over it. I cut a piece of that. This stuff is what? It's 2.5-inch ribbon, and it's not wired at all. So I just took it, and then I took this again, and I just went over, you know, the stars and things, just so they're not so bright white, keeping with that rustic feel here. And then I am just going to take this and we are going to just glue up this bow. First, I'm going to find where the center is here. So right about here is the center, right there. So we're going to take some hot glue, and we're just going to glue that down. This is just going to be easy peasy, and I like easy peasy. So we're going to take that side over here, glue it down, and then bring the other side over. And you could sew these if you want to, if you don't want to hot glue them, but I like quick and easy, so there you go. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to find the center here, just give it a pinch so I have a little line. And then we're just going to put some hot glue down there, glue one side over, and then we're going to glue the other side over. And I thought maybe I would use some of that jute, no it isn't, it's nautical rope, I think that's what that one was called. I don't have the package for it anymore. This was from Dollar Tree. They had this out with the summer stuff. I had this in my stash. But you could use anything, you could use regular jute string, whatever, but I think I want to use this to go around the center of it. We'll see. Let's get this here together. I'm going to use just a piece of floral wire to hold it in place for me until I make up my mind what I'm doing. And we'll see, you know, which looks best, which way I want to do it. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So now that's in half. Then we're going to take this one and set this one right in the center here. And then we're just going to pinch these together, kind of like little pleats, like you would have pleating a fan. And there we have our bow. And now I'm just going to take, like I said, I'm just going to take this wire for now because I'm not exactly sure how I want to do that nautical rope. So just so I don't have to keep trying to hold it together here, we're just going to put this wire on here for now. Make my life easier. All right. Now you could just leave it like that. I think that's just a little bit pretty. I love it. But I thought this might look good for just to go around the center. I was going to have them hang down. I don't know if I want it to. You know what? I can add a couple pieces later if I want it to. So that's what we'll do. But for now, we're just going to hot glue this on here. Let me get my finger protectors out. Let's hot glue that here. This stuff's really stiff too. So I'm hoping this is going to hold it. It should. Once you glue it onto each other, it seems to hold much better. So let me cut that off. I'm just going to hot glue those together before they untwist on me, because they will untwist if you don't glue them. Do we have it going the right way? Yes. Alright, so we'll just glue that down there on the back. And yeah, I think that's going to look just fine just with that piece around there. But I don't know. I'm going to put it on there, and then if I want these to hang down, I'll just add them to the back of it. I won't glue that all the way down. Or you could staple these on or nail it on, whatever you want on this wood. All right, let's put that aside. Grab my thing here. How you dry in there, guys? With your letters. Oh my gosh, this thing's heavy. I mean, you could make one that's not quite as heavy too, with like thinner wood or whatever. But I just saw this, you know, somebody went to a lot of trouble making these, and then they ended up in a thrift store. But you know what? We're just going to give it a new life and get it back outside, and there you go. But I want to put this up here like so, kind of on an angle. I don't want it, do I? I don't know now. I think I want it on an angle. All right, I need to stand up and look at this thing. Yeah, I don't want it to cover that whole thing, so we're going to put it right over here. That's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to figure out whether or not we're just going to add some glue back here just for a minute. Get that to stay. Yeah, I think that looks better this way. And you can puff up your bow. You can actually like really puff this up and then just tack it down with some hot glue so it's more of a puffy look like that. All right, glue, come on. It's so hot. I don't even know if the glue's ever going to cool down today. What is the temperature out right now? It's 93. Very, very, very humid, which is why everything's giving me a hard time here today. All right, let's put a little more up here. And all right, now let's see. Come on, grab hold here. cool off. I hold you next to the air conditioner. Let's see. Do I or do I not want any of this to hang down? I don't think I do. I've changed my mind. I'm just going to leave this as is. I am going to see if I can find a little star. I don't know if I have a small star, because this thing is so off-centered. It kind of looks like it needs... Oops, you can't see what I'm showing you. It kind of looks like... oh my goodness. It looks like I need something here. This thing's so big I'm knocking everything down. I just knocked my pens over. Get back in there. There we go. But anyway, yeah, so pretty much that's it. We're done. I'm going to stand this thing up and take a nice picture of it. If I can find a little star, I'm going to add it on here. But I think this is really cool. I like it. Really can't tell here with all this mess. I got to pick out my pens up. But I'll stand it up, take a nice picture of it, and I'll put it at the end of this video, whether or not I find a star. But thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you like this little project. Head on over to your thrift store and find something to flip. There's so many great things. But I'll see you guys all next time. Have a great day, everyone.